Our first question we have for you is, why did you choose Phoenix? It might sound like a really,
Okay, that's
question,
fine.
but
Okay. So the reason I chose Phoenix is because I previously taught in CPS. I taught at Marshall High School for 6 years. Had some serious emotional issues there with a lot of the kids being killed that I taught. So I left CPS and I went to the suburbs, taught at Marmion Academy, where everything was perfect. Except for me, I felt like I wasn't giving back enough. I wasn't helping the black and brown kids that I needed to help most. Because all those kids were really, really rich and had everything on a silver platter. And I felt guilty that I was like escaping. So I wanted to come back and get back in the fight. That's why I came back.
Okay, so what would be like the biggest difference you'd say between that school and Phoenix?
Okay, the biggest difference in that particular school in Phoenix is that all of those kids come from a household with an income probably over $200,000. That school is $18,000 a year to attend, and all of them go to college on scholarships because they're ACT scores. So they have, all of them have. So opportunity is probably a lot different.
So our next question is, will you be interested in coaching or tutoring any sports teams other than robotics?
And drill. I don't have the time. I'll be interested in doing that, probably volleyball or something like that, but I'm busy. Robotics and drill is full time for me.
Okay. So if you could pass on any wisdom to your students, what would you say would be good advice?
I think the biggest thing would be to, of course, listen in class and always want more. Want more than what you see. I mean, aspire for something that your parents didn't have. You have a golden opportunity here. Don't be confined by the walls. I mean, reach for the sky.
What's something that you think is unique that you bring to the school?
I think my uniqueness has been from Alabama, first of all. I'm probably the only person from the South here. I think I grew up in a perfect situation in Alabama, and I grew up in the late 60s, 70s. So I experienced a lot of the racial hardships. I experienced those things firsthand. I know what it's like to have seen those things that you guys probably read about. I've lived those. I've, of course, 22 years in the military. Retired and got my master's degree. So I've done most things that a lot of people dream of doing. So just having such a array of experiences and settings, I think I bring a lot to the table.
Do you think Phoenix is an accurate representation of what a military school should look like?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I think potentially it is. I think there's challenges anywhere. I think what you find is teachers and instructors make a school. If teachers and instructors have only instructed or taught at one school, I think it's hard to know the world. That's why some teachers take sabbaticals and they go abroad or go other places to observe other teachings. So, this is my fourth school. I taught 6 years in Mississippi, 6 years at Marshall, 2 years out in the suburbs, and now I'm here. So I've seen a lot of different things. So I think potentially Phoenix has everything it needs to be perfect. I think the student base is awesome.
So one of our questions is, if you could describe a time you felt challenged by a student, and how did you handle that situation?
Wow, it goes farther than just academic learning. I think the social emotional situations were the biggest for me, coming from a perfect situation in Mississippi, where you didn't see kids that were homeless, that were so poor that they couldn't make it. I guess my first job at Marshall was challenging, seeing people who didn't have a home to go to, who were really poor, who had to sell drugs to make it. I had never seen that, and it was probably the biggest challenge, and I think I overcame that, or I made a difference in that, and showing those kids love, providing things they didn't have a dad at home, being that dad, being that big brother.
So basically being like a role model for them?
Exactly, definitely role modeling, yes.
Did you ever feel challenged by them, though?
Challenge like?
How can we explain it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like if anyone's ever given you a rough time.
There you go.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the biggest challenge, and this is getting really on the racial line. Most of the kids I taught at Marshall were black. Marshall's 99% black. Coming from Alabama, my perception of black is totally different than what somebody in Chicago would be. We grew up differently. So those kids hated white people to the core. Some of them hated white people just because they're white. I found it very challenging to change the mindset, to let them see that people are people and every person is different. And I was not able to change their points of view on that. And that's something I still struggle with a lot of the young black kids. That's a remaining challenge. That's one of the reasons I came back here. Not planning on getting involved outside of the school with some of the black kids. They have a hard time dealing with anything other than the West Side.
Okay.
If that answers your question, that's a challenge for me.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So how many classes do you have a day?
Okay, so here I teach 1 11th grade, 2 9th grade, and computer science. I guess that's 4 a day. Well, 4 classes, not all every day. Because I start out in the morning time with drill, and I end the day with robotics and drill.
Okay. Can you describe what a day looks like for you?
Okay, that's a good question. So a typical day starts at about 4 o'clock. I get up, take my shower, or have my clothes laid out from the night before. I live in North Aurora, so it's a 37-mile drive here. So I get up, take a shower, get dressed, get my lunch out of the refrigerator if I made one, and stop by McDonald's on the way out, get my coffee, my breakfast sandwich. 37 minutes later, I normally arrive here at about 5:40, 5:45. Come in, get my rosters for my drill team, look over that, look over the plan for today, proceed to Sergeant Walker. We walk down together and get ready to take the drill students in.
What's one thing you do that basically connects both mental health? Like, how do you connect mental health and academic? How do you put that together for your students?
Good. I tell you, robotics does that. And I love my robotics class here. Some of the brightest students are robotic computer science. So the curriculum is getting to be where it's pretty challenging. So I have to bring to life real life situations with computers, and now we're integrating math. So it's all coming together now. So I try to show a realistic side, just like we talk about the braids and hair. What kind of competitions are put into place when you start braiding hair, when you start weaving. So just give them designs that kind of show what we're talking about, or any kind of artifact, so they can kind of visualize where the instruction's going. And I think we do a pretty good job with that. We have a good time.
What's your favorite part of Phoenix? Teaching at Phoenix.
Computer science. Computer science is probably the favorite, and then probably after school robotics, because the guys are so excited. They're so excited in their building. You see the growth, and seeing a 9th grader, and I'm probably the only teacher in the school in the 9th grade. My kids will do at least 5 oral presentations first semester, 9th graders. They'll do at least 3 or 4 writings. So I push 9th graders very hard academically. Because I think if a person can communicate, they can do anything well. So a lot of students run from my class because they don't want to face those things.
So going back to our previous questions, since you said you had experience in the military, you said 20 years?
22 years, yes.
22, my bad. Would you recommend some of us to pursue a career in the military?
Yes, I think the military is any branch is a great place to start. One of the good things about it is you get money for college. You can also go to college while you're in. And now, because I served for 22 years, and I got out and got a master's degree, I'm paid for my master's degree in Chicago. So when you couple, in the military, I was a dental hygienist. So I cleaned teeth for 5 years. Then I became a recruiter. Then I was in charge of all the healthcare recruiting for the whole Southeast region. All the doctors, nurses that joined Army, all those recruiters worked for me in the Southeast. So a array of experiences coupled with education, I think opportunities, just like some of you guys. What I found in Chicago, a lot of people are scared to leave here because it's so comfortable. If a lot of them would just visit Alabama or Mississippi or Atlanta, just see something different, or go downtown Chicago. A lot of kids in my last school, or the ones at Marshall, that never visited downtown. often seeing different things build appreciation.
So you'd say the pros outweigh the cons?
For teaching here or
For
military,
military, yeah.
almost definitely, yes. You don't have to stay 20 years like I did. A 4-year enlistment can get you over $100,000 college money and experience and preferential job hiring.
Do you have more questions? No?
I think we're good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you guys for your time
that
too.
concludes our interview.
Yes,
Here you go.
Oh wow, look at Kenneth.